Welcome to Be Global Podcast, the show that explores the fascinating world of investment migration. I am your host, Gizane, and today our guest is Laura Madrid Sartoreto, the lead researcher at the Global Intelligence Unit of Global Citizen Solutions. Laura earned her PhD in international migration law and has an extensive background in data analysis and project management. She has contributed her expertise to international organizations, including the World Bank and the Inter-American Development Bank. Laura has also collaborated on research projects with notable institutions such as the University of Bremen and Cornell University. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much.
It's so good to have you here.
Thank you.
And I believe you work from Madrid and your name is Laura Madrid. Tell me a bit about that, because it's quite an interesting coincidence, no?
It is, yes. It's funny because my surname is Madrid because it was the surname of my grandfather. But I ended up in Madrid. It doesn't have anything to do with my nationality or my citizenship. I'm Brazilian, but yeah, I ended up in Madrid and we fell in love with the city. And actually, people there really like my surname.
I guess they love it.
Yeah, they like it. They find it very original and
Yeah.
and fun. Yeah.
And then, but are you Spanish? You have dual citizenship.
No, I do have dual citizenship, but I'm a Brazilian Italian. Like many Brazilians from the south, we have my grandparents. They were Italian, and they immigrated to Brazil, and then we got the Italian citizenship. It was actually a very interesting story, and it shows how important it is to hold a second citizenship, because back in the 20s, my sister was applying for an university in the UK.
Yeah.
And I remember overseas fees were very, very high, super high, and EU fees were, I think, 3 times less than overseas fees. And then we were in the process of acquiring the Italian citizenship. And then the dean of the university wanted her to study
in the UK.
In the UK, at City University, and he wrote a letter to the consul of Italian consul, and then they gave her the citizenship in 2 months.
Wow!
And usually it's taking 10 years for people to acquire citizenship by descent, Italian citizenship by descent. So it shows how important it is for practical, issues of life, to have a second citizenship.
Absolutely.
Especially a European citizenship.
Yeah. I did a master's degree in the UK as well, and I clearly remember paying foreigner fees at that time. And it was really hefty. So good. I'm very excited about this show. And, I was basically delving your CV in our introduction, but I want you to tell me more about you. But before that, we're here to discuss the newly launched intelligence unit of Global Citizen Solutions, which our viewers are all invited to explore on our website. But I won't sell it right now. I want to say how important this is personally for me. I'm not only the host of videos and webinars here at Global Citizen Solutions, but I'm also the head of PR. And when you're working with press, it's very important to have reliable, data-driven information that you can seed journalists with trends and basically support the angles that you would like them to write about. So when the idea of the intelligence unit was put together, I was totally up for it. And I was like, yes, let's do it, because it's very important not only to have this information available to our consumers, but also for my line of work, it enriches the work that I do and the information that I send out to press. So yeah, I am very, very happy that you're here. So just to give a bit of information, a bit of background on the creation of the intelligence unit, I I'm sure if you follow us, we have the Global Passport Index, which was pretty much the embryonic stages of what the intelligence unit looks like now. So we created our own ranking of passports, utilizing data available. Then we created the rankings of quality of life, the investment index, and the mobility index. So that provided us with a lot of information that we shared with press and also with our users. So we realized that there's a lot more within the realm of investment migration, of mobility, of migration that could be explored, that could be analyzed and turned into papers, into research. So I won't talk more about the intelligence unit now because we have a guest and she's here to talk about it, not me. So now over to you, Laura. So you told me about your experience being an expat. You told me the story of your sister. So now I want to know a bit more about your extensive background in international migration law. Has this influenced your approach to research in global mobility?
Yeah. Of course, it did. Well, I am Brazilian, as I said, and I started studying law in Brazil, and then I went to London my first time as an expat. I took a master at UCL and in public international law and migration studies. I also worked in a law firm there. At the time, we were doing like work visas and family reunification visas.
Okay.
And I learned a lot from that experience, not only from the academic perspective, but also like living in another country and having all the challenges that expats face when they are in a different country. Then I actually went to Italy, and I live in Sicily and worked with refugees. I worked with international protection and the reception of refugees. And then it was
the refugees that come by boat, or
by boat.
Okay.
By boat, especially at the time from Egypt and Libya, because we had the Arab Springs, and people were just fleeing a persecution. And that was a formative experience for me because
I can imagine.
It changes the way you see borders as like fictions, and it gives you the perspective of people when they arrive in a country and they need really to be integrated within the society. And then I went back to Brazil. I took another master. I started to teach. I took my PhD as well in migration and citizenship.
That was in Brazil?
In Brazil. Then we moved to Spain.
Okay.
And at the time, I was doing a lot of consulting work for, the World Bank and the UNHCR, the IOM. And then
IOM stands for, sorry, because some people might not.
Yeah, of course, International Organization for Migration.
Okay.
And we were using more and more like data. I didn't have any background on statistics or coding or anything related to data, but we were doing work with data at the time. And I realized I wanted to know more about data because I had the impression that we would use more and more data to predict trends and people's movements. And I took training in data analysis. And then now what I do is that I try to combine those skills and produce interesting and insightful information from big data and using artificial intelligence, so we can more or less try to predict trends and movements.
Of course,
of people and wealth and.
So I can understand why. So the migration route was taken, in your studies as you had the background in law, and then came your master's, the PhD, and the need to have data to support all of it, I can definitely share the necessity, because I feel how important this is in order to provide and create work that it is relevant.
Yes, and especially when you want to kind of try to fundament decision making process for public policies. Even like if you work in an organization, you're gonna need and you're gonna try to trace like data to make decisions. In international organizations, governments, the administration, or any company. And we have a lot of data available publicly. We always have to try to get updated information from the databases we have. But if you know how to look for it and how to extract it, you can use this important information to make insightful analysis.
So now we're here. You are here at Global Citizen Solutions, which is great. So tell me how it all happened. What motivated you to start working with Global Citizen Solutions?
Well, I remember we started our conversations in 6 months ago. And I contacted you through LinkedIn because I found your work very interesting and insightful. The webpage, everything you were doing at the time. But I was more or less working with data at the time. So what we did is we tried to really combine my backgrounds to add value to the company. And you were really looking for a person that could lead the intelligence unit, and they could have a background in migration and global mobility, but could also bring new technologies and and all this information that we have available to produce meaningful information from that data we have available. I think we talked for like more or less 6 months, and we were aligned with what we wanted for the intelligence units to produce reliable and data-driven reports and publications. And at the end, at the beginning of 2024, we set the deal. And I'm here. And you're here. And I'm super happy.
Me too. I'm very happy. And also, just to echo what you're saying, there's just so much trends going on in relocation, in migration, in wealth management. So much has changed in the scenario since we emerged from the pandemic in 2021, kind of, that we felt internally that it was about time for us to put together reports that could analyze all these trends and predict the future, as you said. So that is really good. So now talking about the future. So can you tell me a bit about the upcoming publications that Global Intelligence Unit will bring to us? I know you have those reports, actually, sorry, just taking a little bracket here to tell our viewers or listeners that we have it all now on our platform. So you just go on Global Citizen Solutions website and you'll be able to see the reports there. So I believe there's one about Malta. There is one which talks about the super election year. So it's a really important one, as half of the world population is going to the polls this year, and one about the US retirement trends. So can you tell me a little bit about these 3 reports?
Yeah, sure. But first of all, I want to tell you that, I really believe data is value nowadays, but we also have to separate what is good information and all the noise that we have online, and then I think the intelligence unit will be a valuable department in this matter, trying to really seek reliable information and the rubbish you have online. We started talking about the ECJ's case in Malta because the
European Court of
yeah,
Justice.
the European Court of Justice, because the outcome from that judgment will impact the whole European landscape on investment migration. The court is deciding if member states are still the bodies that can regulate on nationality laws. And if the court decides to validate Malta CBI schemes, you're gonna see more and more schemes being created in other countries in the European Union.
Yeah.
You might have also more harmonized regulations among those schemes. But on the other hand, if the court decides that European Union can have a say on that matter, then you might have a landscape that is more restrict to CBI, our CBI schemes, and other parts of the world will be more interesting.
Of course, and that's a very important point you make.
Yeah, maybe the countries in the Caribbean. We have the Pacific, some Pacific islands. You have Thailand, Malaysia, well, many other, South America, Uruguay, many other possibilities. So this is very important. It might seem to be a very, let's say, a very legal perspective, but it actually impacts investment migration.
Yeah.
Then we have, the super election year report, and we are analyzing how elections will impact investment migration in the near future.
Yeah.
And how political instability can lead to the desire to relocate, and where people are seeking for relocate when they have political instability in their countries. We kind of seen a desire for people to have a second citizenship as insurance plan for political and economic instability.
Yeah.
And then in the same trend, we have a very interesting report on international retirement migration, especially mainly related to US retirees, because by 2035, 70% of the US population will be over 65 years old, and you cannot rely on Social Security.
Can you repeat that data again?
17% of the population in the US will be 65 plus.
Wow. Okay.
And it's a huge impact for, all the Social Security system. So people are seeking relocation plans to stretch their pensions, to plan their retirement. And also, if you think about European countries or countries in the Caribbean, people are thinking about quality of life, healthcare system. There are many, many factors that will impact the decision.
Yeah.
And also, it's very important for us to not forget that in the next 2 decades, we are going to have the largest wealth transfer from the baby boomers to millennials and to Generation Z. And this is also important to trace, because you're going to have to identify how these people invest, how these generations, they see work environment. We have now, for instance, something also coming for digital nomadism, because millennials and Gen, they are more open to digital nomadism. New forms of investment with digital assets like cryptocurrencies, everything that is related to this behavior of the next generations in the field of relocation, global mobility, investment, wealth, work, and everything that impacts, the life.
Yeah. Those are very, very interesting topics you just mentioned. I think there's also tax, which is something of relevance to anyone who is studying, doing succession planning, wealth transfer. And that sort of information is kind of scattered everywhere. So it's good, as you always mention, reliable information. So it's good that we are looking to get all this information sieved through, um, to just keep what is relevant and go away with all the noise, which is pretty much personal views.
Exactly.
Rather than being based on data. So, Laura, we talked about the upcoming reports, and thank you very much for that overview. It was very thorough. But I want to focus on one detail that you mentioned here, which I think it really impacts the global mobility industry, and I also mentioned a bit about tax. But I'd like to for you to give us an overview about wealth management and wealth transfer, since you mentioned it a few times before. I know that in the realm of wealth management, the intelligence unit will delve into high net worth individuals. So can you give us a bit more information on that?
Sure. Yes. When you talk about high net worth individuals, we need to realize and note that we're gonna have in the next 2 decades the biggest wealth transfer in in the world. It's the silent generation and the baby boomers will pass 85.4 trillion in assets to their descendants.
What you said is $84.4 trillion
dollars. Yeah.
Wow.
To the next generations, millennials and Generation Z. And then it's important to identify how these people deal with wealth, investment, work life, and all the issues that will impact their lives. Because we realize, for instance, that millennials and the Z generation is more comfortable in investing in digital assets, cryptocurrencies. These people are more in favor of digital nomadism. They will travel and work from one place and get the salary from other countries. We have what we call also intermediate nomads, that are people that live 6 months in one country, the country of their nationality, and then they go, especially in European winter, for instance, they go and live 6 months in a tropical country. So the industry and the companies, they need to try to adjust to this scenario that will be the reality in the next decades. And we wanted to anticipate these predictions and analysis to help to give information to the industry to produce products for those clients, bespoke products for this type of clients, because they behave very different from their antecessors, from silent generation and baby boomers. It's a shift.
Yeah, definitely, because baby boomers invested in real estate, but they bought it for like $500.
Exactly.
In the
real
past.
estate, some of the ones that are more like not that averse to risk, they will invest in some financial projects. But you have now all this new realm of cryptocurrencies and digital assets and FTs and
And there's also the more sustainable, friendly funds that this generation, the Z, is like to invest.
Exactly. There's also research from LFS, for instance, that say that this is not only a generational subject, but it's a gender subject, because more women will inherit from their ascendants, the wealth, and new generations and women are more they're more interested in principled investments. And when we talk about principled investments, we talk about sustainable development, we talk about cultural heritage, scientific research.
Okay, yeah.
And, Portugal is an example of a country that kind of shift their RCBI scheme to offer these products to investors.
Yeah, true.
So, and more countries will do that.
Yeah. And then tell me one thing, Laura. Do you think what the intelligence unit produces in terms of reports will also perhaps, I think you mentioned that, but I just want to reinforce because that was a good thought. Do you think it will also impact or influence the investment migration industry, the key players? Do you think that the reports produced here will certainly kind of impact what we're doing out there?
Yes, yes, that's what we wanted to do, because we are not preparing, all this reports and information not only for the company itself and also for the clients, but for the broader industry. Because we think that when you take away the rubbish and the noise, and use data and artificial intelligence to create reliable information, we can help the industry to adapt to this new reality. So what we wanted to do is seek for data, use data, analyze the information, and forecast some trends in the industry for the industry.
Okay.
And then, of course, we can add to this debate on global mobility, investment migration, digital nomadism, the transfer of wealth and wealth relocation in a broader context.
Yeah. So this all will be achieved by the use of sophisticated analytics, and so a lot of data analysis here because of my incapability of deal with numbers. Hence why I do public relations. I'm from humanities, but there is also the use of artificial intelligence and technology in this day and age that could help us crunch the numbers and produce data analysis of good quality. So can you tell me a bit more about the technology that will be used by the intelligence unit?
Yeah. We know that we have several public databases where we can get data and clean. What we say is that we clean the data, and then we use sophisticated software to analyze and visualize the information in a more user-friendly way.
Okay.
But it is important to mention that Global Citizen Solutions Intelligence Unit, of course, is very keen on new technologies and the using of available data to help us to understand new trends. But we will also rely on our experts and consultants, because we believe that human resource and human intelligence is the differential for when we want to produce reliable information.
Yeah.
So of course, new technologies are important, and we have all the softwares, the tools that are available, and the data. But because we have people like experts that are literate in the investment migration markets, in many countries, we can combine this their skills and these softwares, these tools, to create insightful reports and predict trends.
This is very good. I think maybe I can give some contribution here. I love the sound of your voice, but since I'm here, I might as well speak, not just ask questions. But so just to let our viewers know, Laura and I are working together, and so it's I can confidently say that the reports that are being produced are very thorough, and it covers different sectors of mobility, wealth management, migration policy, and so on. But one important point that we didn't touch here is the format. So it will be all available on our website. Laura, pitch in if you think I'm forgetting something, but it will be all available on our website, the entire report, so that you can spend time there exploring. There will be insights from collaborators,
Yes,
external.
That's a very important thing to mention, because not only we have experts within the company, but we are going to seek for the best and the brightest in the subject matter of each publication. So when we're talking about cryptocurrencies, we are going to talk to people that work in the field, and they know the industry, and they are going to give their insights in our reports. And when you're talking about global mobility, international retirement migration, we are seeking for these people to add value to our reports.
So, Laura, we were talking about collaborators, and you mentioned that people from the industry and of relevant fields of the topic of the study will be collaborating with us with articles, signed articles, or interviews, or webinars. But there's also people from within Global Citizen Solutions. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, because in Global Citizen Solutions, we have experts in legal investment migration, tax law, and other fields that can contribute to the insights that we are going to have in each report. So it's very important to us that these people, they can put their contributions to the report, and we are going to see more and more our experts giving their insights on the data we are collecting and analyzing. That's why, for us, methodology is also very important. We believe that scientific methodology is a way that really will separate the rubbish from relevant information, and we do use data-driven scientific methodology to build an index or a piece that we are working on.
Okay, so hold that thought. I want to really emphasize on what you just said, the scientific method. So what brings the weight of our intelligence units, the produce created by the intelligence unit, is that we have collaborators that are specific to their fields. We have data that is specific to this topic, and it's not only data that is available everywhere. No. Tell me about this method. Because the methodology.
Yes, we search for information in reliable public databases, and then of course each report will require different methodology.
Of course,
we are going to use statistical maths to create an index, or maybe we are going to do like a survey to try to identify and collect behavior from a pool of people, a set of people. And we are always going to use this very rigorous scientific methodology to create our reports.
Yeah.
Of course, each format requires a different methodology, but that's very important to us because we know there are a lot of information, about investment migration, relocation, global mobility. But then when you are going to check the methodology, you cannot trace where the data comes from.
Yeah.
Is it reliable? Is it from public sources? Is it, can you trust on that data to predict or to identify the trend? And most of the times you cannot. Mm-hmm. And for me, because I have this scientific background, it's very important to use reliable data.
It's amazing. Yes, we do also echo this need in the industry. Scientific methods should be the way forward. And I think what is coming now will be really fascinating, and will be a great development from what we started with the Global Passport Index. Let me see here, because there's so much that we discussed. I just want to make sure that we cover everything. I'm just going to have a look at my list of questions here. So we talked about the formats of the publication, right? So there will be monthly briefs, which are shorter reports, and there will be the white paper, which will be a further, more thorough, bigger report. Everything will be laid out on our website. So if you are browsing through the website now, so you'll be able to see how it's laid out there. With graphs to make it easier for the viewer to visualize the data. Also with webinars, with interviews like this one we're having here, and articles from collaborators. So it will be really gold material.
Exactly. Very user friendly. Yes, very user friendly, but reliable.
Yeah.
That's very important. We were actually involved in the creation of the website for for the reports and the publications, and we were really keen that users would have a good experience when browsing on the the articles, the videos, the rankings when they are available, the graphs, the charts and tables, because I think it's very important also to have a good experience when browsing through the information we have available.
Yeah. I think we had a really good and productive conversation, but I want you to, before you part away, give me your last words. What do you expect from the intelligence unit, and anything that you want to highlight here?
Yes, thank you very much. I really enjoyed talking to you. I'm super excited for what we are producing here in Global Citizen Solutions Intelligence Unit, and I would say that as my final words, I always believe that borders are fictions, and more because we have this, industry development in the last 20 years since the first investment migration scheme came to life. We have more and more companies like Global Citizen Solutions that make it easier for people that want to relocate. Yeah. Not only relocate, but seek for second citizenship, and to have on their bags the possibility to maintain and pass their wealth through these strategies. Yeah. So I believe we are here to help, clients, and to participate on this broader dialogue with the industry to create a better and a healthier and more understandable environment for investment migration and global mobility.
Absolutely. Laura, borders are fictional. I love that phrase. Develop a bit more on that.
Yeah. For instance, if you see the map of the continent of Africa, for instance, you're gonna see the borders are more like squares that were created at the time by colonizers, and they are bureaucratic inventions because the globe is open and it's a possibility for you to relocate everywhere. But of course, the state bureaucracy will try to prevent you to do that. Yeah. But the industry, like companies, these programs, the new possibilities, technology, all of those tools are here to help you to develop your life project anywhere.
Yeah. And even a borderless world.
Exactly.
Okay. Laura, thank you very much. This was great. So I just want to share with you who are watching us, or if you are listening to us via our audio channels, that if you go to globalcitizensolutions.com, you will be able to explore all the reports that we talked about, all the themes, and also learn something. So thank you very much for watching us, and I hope you learned as much as I did, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.